what I have is that this document is very important for all of you, for curriculum students, very rich document, and you'll have big information from these all materials. It may have some days to finish all the documents. Now, from part to part, I'll continue to present this important or rich documents. Just follow me. It has part 4 to conclude all this document. This is part 1, the concepts and the nature of curriculum. It's all over the natures, all over the concept of curriculum for all masters, and beyond that we will have or can got important things from these materials. Let's start. Generally, general objective is there. The purpose of this document is to offer the readers the commonly accepted definitions in the area of curriculum generally, to explore its nature, scope, and the different approach to the curriculum definitions, and to analyze its past and present. So as I said that there is a 4 units or 4 parts. One is the concepts and the scope of curriculum. The other is the approach to curriculum, how to approach to the curriculum. The relations of curriculum and instruction. How is the relationship between the curriculum and the instruction of the whole teaching and learning programs. The historical development of curriculum. When it started, curriculum development, and how to develop and reaching up to this day. The introduction parts to the basic questions of how shall curriculum be conceived. There is no one answers about analyzing of the possibility and their implication for better learning strongly suggested a broader interpretation of the broader understanding than the traditional courses. What we mean by curriculum, what involves and who are involved are best understood by analyzing curriculum in different contexts. Therefore, an attempt is made in this unit to show how curriculum has been made is being defined by different scholars. In the unit, an attempt is also made to enable you understand the scope of curriculum and its relation to instructions. General objective: after learning this unit, you should have been able to explain the varied meaning people give to the term curriculum. Then identify the differentiate the different curriculum approaches. Then describe curriculum as a field of professional work and study. Explain why it is important for those concerned with education to study and learn about curriculum. Explain why and how curriculum is considered as a discipline and how it is related to instructions. Then the concept and the approach of curriculum. Definitions of the term curriculum. The idea of curriculum is hardly new, but the way we understand, theorized, it has turned over the years, and there remain considerable dispute as to its meaning. The term curriculum is used in several different ways in current educational literatures. Indeed, even among professional educators, it is used in so many different ways that communication is often hampered. We are literally bombarded with a multitude of competing and sometimes conflicting definitions of curriculum, which attempt us to choose among them, to combine seams of them, or even to reject some and come up with a comprehensive one. Perhaps the reason why curriculum is defined differently in different educational literature because different scholars have different view about the function of schooling. For example, subject-centered curriculum experts as Bestorn, Korvisky, and learners, and others argue that the function of the school is promotion of intellectual training fans for them. Curriculum is defined as the collection of those subjects that can be promote intellectual capacity of children. On the other hand, the advocations of experience-centered curriculum such as Count and Lipkins view the task of scholar as the preparation of children for the purpose of building a new social order and helping them view in and lead these new social orders. Accordingly, they defined curriculum as everything that transpired in the process of planning and learning in educational institutions. Proponents of child-centered traditions such as Dewey and Wilson give more emphasis to thoughts and beliefs, hope, choice, feelings, and wish of children and helping children with this is the main task of the school. Consequently, they argue that the school curriculum should focus upon what can effectively engage the minds of the children. Wilson challenges that the meaning one attaches to the function of the school influences analysis of what curriculum is. Curriculum specialists have, in the interest of clarity, attempting to limit the meaning of curriculum. Disagreement still existed with respect to what constitutes legitimate definitions of the word. Until the 19th century, curriculum was primarily viewed as a content and involves a subject matter, the what of the schooling. It really was after the rising of the progressive and behavior movement in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. In this broader sense, however, the curriculum is considered to be everything that transpires in the course of planning, teaching, learning in educational institutions. A useful starting point for us there might be the definition offering by John Kerry and taken up by Viskili in his hand work on the subject. Kerry defined curriculum as all the learning which is planned, guided by the school, whether it is carried on in group or individually, inside or outside the schools. When you are quoting there, the definitions of curriculum can be placed on the continuum from the narrowing focus to the broader. For instance, a narrow focus is one that defines curriculum as a plan for disciplinary study of subject. It is most limited sense. Curriculum is defined as an outline of a course of study. It is defined as a plan for action or written document, which includes strategy for achieving desired goal for ends. For example, Saylor defined curriculum is a plan to be educated. Party 1918 defined it as an organized set of formal education and/or training intentions. Wells and Bondi view it as a plan for learning. However, it is a kind of definition leaves no room for the numerous curriculum elements added to that plan by the teachers and the student in the classroom setting. This we consider almost everything in the school, even outside of the school, as part of the curriculum. It is rooted in Dewey's definitions of experience and education as well as in Caswell and Campbell's view from the 1950s that the curriculum was all the experience children have under the guidance of teachers. Both in the first text on the subject in 1918 took a broad view of curriculum in his two-side view. One is the entire range of experience, both undirected and directed, concerned in unfolding ability of the individuals, or it is a series of consciously directed training experience that the school is used for the completing, performing unfoldment. The variety definition of curriculums creates confusion that trivialized the field definitional debate, take away time and energy from substantial problems and issues. The more precise one's definition of curriculum and the other, and the more persons rely on the perceived plan, entertained, and tendency to omit, ignore, or miss relevant factors related to teaching and learning because they are not part of the written plan. On the other hand, broader umbrella-like definition of curriculum as school experience resulted in other problems. It assumes that almost everything that goes on in school can be classified as curriculum. If nearly everything in the school it is related to curriculum, classifying what is not curriculum will be meaningless. Curriculum becomes so diffuse that no one can have sufficient value in the field. Every school has a plan for an acknowledged curriculum, but it also has an unplanned, informal, and hidden one that must be considered. The planned formal curriculum focuses on goals, objectives, subjects, matters, and organization of instruction. Unplanned informal curriculum deals with social psychological interaction among students and teachers, especially their feelings, attitudes, and behavior. If we only consider the planned curriculum, or if we are too prescriptive in our approach, we ignore the intended consequence of our plan and action. The point is we cannot be too rich or close-ended and try to fill in all the box. Layer of curriculum. The curriculum could be perceived as being personalized and relevant outlets and low levels. The teacher relying on experts could view the curriculum as a prescriptive rather than a guide, which is loosely followed or not followed at all depending on the needs of students in the classroom. In line with this idea, Praz and Rudensky, 1995, suggests that our definition of curriculum should at least include the following 4 layers of curriculum. One is the intended curriculum, the expressed curriculum, the hidden curriculum, and the last one is the experienced curriculum. The intended curriculum is the written curriculum documented on the social levels. It can be national curriculum or regional syllabus. At low levels, it can be school district curriculum, guided textbook, or even teacher's plan. It is what is intended to be taught, how it is intended to be done, and under what intended circumstance. Intended curriculum is really followed exactly by the teacher. The teacher added personal style, best experience, tried methods, and personal antidotes. The expressed curriculum has been called and enacted on manifested curriculum elsewhere. Rickson and Schultes, 1992. We use the term expressed because we feel that teachers express themselves through the enactment of curriculum in their teaching. Each classroom is microscopic visions of society. Since the teacher philosophy is extremely important, the word expressed, curriculum view personal meaning to articulations of the curriculum. The hidden curriculum, which is a side effect of the planned curriculum, cannot be ignored during implementation and evaluation. Philip Jackson, 1968, first coined the term hidden curriculum in his book Life is Classroom. He used the term to indicate that the social requirements of learning at school are often hidden but are extremely important. According to Sudan, 1983, the hidden curriculum involves the learning of attitude, norms, beliefs, values, assumptions, often expressed as rules, rituals, and regulations. They are rarely questions and are just taken for granted, and any curriculum should include these aspects of instructions. Expressed curriculum is the student's actual experience in the classroom. This is living meaning. Students, it is live meanings. Students actually derive from the combinations of layers of curriculum to which they are exposed. Thought students rarely see the intended curriculum, they express it through the expressed curriculum. As the teacher articulated what has to be done, the intended curriculum is shared with the students. Curriculum approach reflects our view of schools and society. To some extent, it may even become an all-encompassing outlook if we feel strongly about this view. Curriculum specialists, even curriculum studies students need to examine what they are, one way or another, influenced by curriculum approach. An individual approach to curriculum reflects a person's view of the world and the amount of knowledge or she possesses. Curriculum approach reflects the holistic position encompassing the foundation of curriculum, domination of curriculum, and critical and practical principles of curriculum. An approach expresses a viewpoint about the development and the design of the curriculum, the role of the learner, the teacher, the curriculum specialist in a planning curriculum, the goal and the objective of the curriculum, the importance issues that need to examine. Curriculum approach can be viewed from a technical and non-technical or scientific and non-scientific perspective. Technical scientific approach coincide with the traditional theory and models of education and reflecting established formal methods of schooling. Non-technical and non-scientific approach have evolved as part of experimental philosophers of education. They tend to challenge establishing and formalizing practice of education. Below are 5 major approaches in curriculum. The first three are classified as technical or scientific, and the later two as non-technical and non-scientific approaches. Behavioral rational approach is the oldest and still the major approach to curriculum that rooted in the work of Patty, Charter, Taylor, and Tava. As a means indeed approach, it is local and perspective. It really owns technical and scientific principles and including plan and step-by-step strategy for formulating curriculum. Goals and objectives are specific content and activities are sequenced to coincide with the objective and learning outcomes are evaluated in related to the goal and objective. The behavioral rational approach constitutes a framework reference against which other approaches to curriculum are compared. Pauls, Feinberg, 1985. Other names that have been used to identifying this approach including logical positive, conceptual, empiricist, experimentalist, rational, scientific suggests that the approach is also technical and scientific and that is deal with principles for theoreticians and practitioners. Behavioral rational approach really on a perspective blueprint for curriculum making and considering the curriculum to be planned with sequential and structure activities and which predetermined rules among the curriculum players. It is considered with technical issues that are considered with logic, order, and rationality. Theoretical issues that have merits are those that are related to technical matter from which to develop or design the curriculum. Practical issues are those that are considered with logic, order, and rationality. System managerial approach. This approach perceives the school as a social system whereby student, teacher, curriculum, specialist, and other interaction among to certain normal behaviors. This approach advocates, among other things, selecting, organizing, supervising, people involving in curriculum decisions. Consideration is given to committed and group process, communication process, leadership methods, strategies, human relations, and decision making. Advocation of this approach are intended in change and innovations and in how curriculum specialists and supervisions can facilitate this process. The curriculum specialist is considered to be practitioners, not theoretical, and educational leaders, changing agents, resources, persons, and facilitators. The system managerial approach is rooted in early 1920s and 1930s. School organization, administration models became a dominant curriculum model in 1950s and 1960s. The influential advocates of this approach were Robert Anderson, William Corngo, Robert Gilchrist, Arthur Lewis, and others who were less concerned about content than about organizations and implementations. They were more concerned about improving curriculum in light of policies, plan, and pupils on a system-wide basis than about subject matter, methods, and material for curriculums. Advocates of this approach development systems. One is engineering, processing necessary to plan the curriculum, strategy development, design development, and evaluations, structure subject, course, unit, and lessons. The system approach in curriculum, sometimes technical and complete, was influenced by system theory, system analysis, system engineering. The concepts and principles originally developed by social scientists in 1960s were used widely by school managers as part of administrators and organizational theory. Most of early curriculum specialists were once high-ranked school administrators. The intellectual academic approach. The intellectual academic approach, sometimes referred to as the tradition of the knowledge-oriented approach, attempts to analyze and analyzing a major position, trends, and concepts of curriculum. The approach intended to be historical or philosophical, and to lesser extent social and nature. The discussion of curriculum making is usually scholarly and theoretically or not practically, and concerned with many broader aspects of schooling, including the study of education. This approach is rooted in the philosophical and intellectual work of John Dewey, Henry Morrison, and Boyd. It becomes popular between 1930s and 1950s. The field became all-encompassing, becoming its integrated various instructional, teaching, evaluation, guidance, administrative procedures. After 1950s, major interest in curriculum centered on the structure of discipline, the qualitative method. Thus, the intellectual approach lost its influence. Humanistic aesthetics approach. Humanistic aesthetic curriculum contents that above described curriculum approach are rigid and miss the artistic and personal aspect of curriculum, and do not consider the needs of self-reflectiveness and self-actualization and among learners, and ignore psychological dynamics of school. The humanistic approach view is rooted in progressive philosophy and active curriculum movements of the 1920s and 1930s, which highlighted the children needed and interested, and which was headed by such people as Frederick Bursner, Hollis Caswell, William Lamb, Patrick Express Moore, Thomas Hopkins, and Harold Raggi. From this movement, a host curriculum strategy emerged mainly at the elementary school level, including lessons based on life experience, group projects, dramatizations, field trips, social enterprise, interest centers, and child and adolescent needs. These activities include problem solving and active student participation. Various socio-psychological and child-centered theory of curriculum uses this approach, advocates that the formal of specified curriculum is not the only curriculum to consider. The formal and hidden curriculum are also worthwhile. A humanistic theory of learning are given equal appealing and sometimes greater emphasis on behavioral and cognitive theories. Music, art, literature, health, education, and the humanitarian are just as important as science and maths. Today, demands for educational excellence put increasing stress on the subjects such as science, maths. Thus, the humanistic approach represents a minority position in the curriculum. Curriculum specialists who believe in this approach tend to put faith in cooperative learning, depending learning, small group learning, in social activities as opposed to competitive teacher dominate and large group learning and only cognitive instructions. Each child, according to this approach, has considerable input in curriculum and sharing responsible with parents, teacher, curriculum specialists in planning the curriculum. Reconceptualized view such as annexation of society. They hold that the purpose of curriculum ought to be emancipatory, but that intent it has become controlling, preserving of existing order. Rooted in the philosophy and social activism of such early recognition as counted Rugg Benjamin, this new curriculum specialists wish to think, recognize, and reconceptualize the curriculum. The advocacy of this approach are not textbook written, rather they tend to be educational critics. They lack a model for the developing and the designing curriculum, rather than they tend to focus on larger ideological and social issues of education, not only curriculum, and economic and political institutes of society, not only school. For this reason, most people do not consider this as approach. They are advocates of particular philosophical and political position. This approach to curriculum is subjective, political, and ideological. They do not rely on the hard science or the empirical methods for answers. Importance of studying curriculum. Some people find curriculum matter fascinating enough to study them for their own sake. This whose careers involves specific responsibility for making curriculum. Discussions obviously need to learn about the subject, but because curriculum decision and actions are so central to the educational enterprise, and because participation in curriculum work is so widely distributed, everyone involved in education needs to study curriculum. Responsibility for curriculum decision and action is more widely shared than in the case with any other aspects of education. Instruction is primarily the teacher's responsibility. More in all measure with other educational specialists, school alumni responsible of principals and other staff shared with district officials. But everyone who was stuck in an educational program wants a voice in shaping a curriculum. In this welters of paper, overlapping and competing influence, no single agency is prominent in the curriculum decision and actions. Strictly speaking, there are no curriculum decision making in the sense that the individual has both the power and the authority to make. Curriculum decisions are binding on those who must carry out the decisions. Because all of us involved in education can be help shape the curriculum, and all of us must also live within the results of everyone's effort. We must all understand it and the process that sustain if sustain it. If we are to govern educational intelligence intelligently, curriculum improvement. Curriculum improvement offers an opportunity to enhance the lives of many thousands of students, teachers, and communities. The matter we ask children to learn in their formative years make difference in their life. It makes difference whether we teach them a second language, personal health and fitness, economics or statistics. They will learn different value and become different people, pursuing different career and making different use of their literature time. They will learn from different concepts of themselves, of their ability and interest. It makes a difference whether we teach arithmetic by rote or teaching mathematical concepts for real understanding. Students have different attitude towards their countries and government when they are taught. It is history fully and uh, actually currently than when they are merely fit name, dates, and historical math. What children study and learn in the school make a difference in their life. The curriculum of elementary and secondary education is also an important factor in shaping national cultures. People are having common heritage if the contents of that heritage is literally related, relearned successfully by every new generation. The curriculum of every schooling determining the distribution of various forms of a level of skilling and knowledge which is a society and therefore affecting nearly all aspects of society, including national character, politics, and national economic competitiveness. Due to this end, because of curriculum development and implementation is a collective and cooperative work. Policy making, educators at a different level need to know about the curriculum. Curriculum is a subject for major importance for teachers due to the fact that it is one of their immediate reference. Curriculum materials such as syllabus, textbook, teacher's guide, teacher's aids, and other material which consist of strategy for implementing the curriculums are all valued to school teachers. Carefully planning and development are wisely important at about they are account for nothing unless teachers are aware of the product and having the skills to implement the curriculum in classroom. The curriculum cannot achieve its aim unless it is implemented in the way it was intended to implement. This is the big and the important thing that all the work is or all the intended or all the plan is should be practiced. For proper implementation of the curriculum, adequate training prior to implementation and supporting monitoring during the implementation is standard approach. Thus, teachers are expected to know what they teach better than any other persons do. Hidden curriculum. The hidden curriculum, which is side effects of the planned curriculum, cannot be ignored during the implementation and evaluation. Philip Jackson, 1968, first coined the term hidden curriculum in his book Life in Classroom. He used the term to indicate that the social requirements for learning at school are often hidden but are extremely important. According to Sedon, 1983, the hidden curriculum involves the learning of attitude, norms, belief, value, and assumption, often expressed as a rule and ritual and regulations. They are rarely questions and are just taken for granted, and any curriculum should include this aspect of instructions. This is the end of the part one. Thank you for your attention. See you in the next class. I will bring the next point soon. Thank you.